All right, welcome everybody. Mil-Spec Ops Monkey. It's going to be 1:30 on a Friday. Congratulations, we've made it through another week. And let's see here. It's going to be 6/11/21 and coming to you from the great state of Texas. And so without further ado, let's get on over to the board. So today we're going to be actually covering a lot of Gitmo stuff. Had an increase in activity, and I've been looking at the data. And then I've been looking at the Lauderdale location, and I've got some things I want to share with you guys because I think it's kind of an interesting discovery, to say the least. But right now on the board, we're sitting about 315 aircraft up. Those are all military. And again, for the newcomers, just kind of back up a little bit from time to time. Colors of the aircraft are actually, they align with the grid bar down here at the bottom. The slider bar, which is orange, is going to be down at ground level. And then, you know, the brighter purple color is going to be high altitude stuff. And so when you see gray aircraft like this one sitting right here, that bad dude is on ground, but he's transmitting. Okay, so he's either getting ready to fly or just shutting engines down. So, but there is that. Okay. All right. So let me see here real fast. We got a lot of kind of just heavy congestion. Now I've been seeing a lot of B-52s up lately. I don't know if they're just trying to get some stick time in, new pilots, or what the deal is, but been seeing quite a few. We've had them up over DC recently, and they were actually over DC this morning. And then yesterday, I think we had 5 or 6 up over just central US, which is interesting to say the least, because I say that, you just don't see them that often. When you do, you only see 2 or 3. So to see, you know, 6 of them is a bit of a big number. So we do have Looking Glass, which is up, which is an E-6B Mercury. That aircraft's coming out of the middle of the U.S. Looks like he is also kind of getting into the D.C. area and hanging out. And so not, other than that, not too much. But let me get into the meat of this, because we'll come back and look at the board here in a minute. But just a real fast one too. I've got a couple more Google balloons we're going to look at. This one's off the coast of California, and we'll take a closer look at that when we get to the end. Now this, you guys will see, this one just went active. When I started preloading my screen within about the last 2.5 hours ago and pulling everything up, there wasn't that much activity. I think we had 3 or 4 over here on this coast. This this one was kind of going. That one up here in the Greenland area, look at that ash alert. I'm going to kind of zoom in on it, but that bad dude is going gangbusters. That's not a good thing, actually. Well, for traffic, it's not. When you get this kind of alert in the general area, that will shut down air traffic across the drink. They'll have to come down further south, or they'll go way further north up over the, the kind of the arch there. So, but this is, that is massively spewing. So kind of be interested to go in and look and see what we've got going on here after I get done with the SITREP. But then we get down here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 active volcanoes. These are all spewing ash along Central and South America. Again, that right there is probably another record. I haven't seen that. The one in Africa has gone quiet, and then we just got one in Japan. But this all is fired up. When I started, again, this had there were 4 of them over here, so we've added 3 since I started loading my map, plus this one. So you don't see ash clouds, honestly, guys. This right here is pretty spectacular. You don't see ash alerts that size very often. So that thing is probably making the news, because that will definitely, like I said, that'll hose up Europe. Matter of fact, if it stays like that for a long time and gets over here, that'll introduce health issues. It could cool the climate where you have crop failures and all kinds of stuff. But those aircraft, you can see there's a couple that are kind of buzzing in here, so they must have eyes on what's in the air. Must be pretty heavy duty, otherwise you wouldn't see them flying into those zones. But those are all alerts. Pretty amazing. So okay, let's get over to what we're really the meat of this thing, and this is going to be Guantanamo Bay. I'll go back and look at the TFRs here in a minute, and we'll talk a little bit about flashbang. But for the most part, this is what I want to spend our time on today. This board, as you guys notice, it is chock full. If you go back and look in the last 30 days, it started probably about 30 days ago, and we've had a constant uptick. I've seen more out of sequence, out of tempo aircraft bouncing into Guantanamo Bay in the last 30 days than I have seen in a year. It's absolutely, it's crazy. And they're just, this one here is coming back and forth. So if I go over here to schedule real fast, you can see what's en route. This one, you've already got, so that's Delta Airlines coming out of Atlanta. More than likely, that's going to be troops. Okay, that's pretty confident it's going to be a troop rotation, or they're beefing up some troops. But those will more than likely be troops. They do that kind of. I've seen that before. But this one right here has gone back and forth. If we look at the aircraft closer, it's landing in 20 minutes back at the spa. It just took off. We actually had eyes on it when it left, but we didn't get there in time to see who was on it. But I will share some other information with you because we do have eyes on that situation, and it's been very interesting. And we're also going to look closer at the airport. And when I show you the stuff they're doing, it's gonna be kind of like they're hiding something. Okay, so but that one is en route right now to Guantanamo Bay. Again, this is an aircraft we've been seeing more frequently lately. Don't know what's going on. If I get over to the boards for Guantanamo Bay, you can see for this month it's blank. There are no courts in session for Guantanamo Bay. So typically we would see something. So let's get over to the next month, and you can see these things starting to pepper on. But that's a month out. And that's only 4 days out of the entire month. It used to be just chock full on the month. So you can't have this kind of activity going on at a major prison and not have something going on. More than likely, the things that are taking shape right now probably fall into a classified. So they're probably sealed, if I had to guess, and they've been unsealed for this, and that's about it. So kind of like a Maxwell deal, when she goes into court, they'll actually pull the documents out of a vault because certain aspects of that case are still sealed to protect people, and then as soon as that court hearing's up, they put them back into the vault. So, all right, so that is our board for Guantanamo Bay. As you can see, we've got 2 inbound right now. That one is out of sequence, and if I back up just to show you guys, this one that's our Uber for Legal Eagles. That's a normal. Okay, this one out of sequence. That's normal. That's Charleston. It's supply run. That is troop, or sorry, that won't be troop. That'll probably be, more Legal Eagles. So Tuesday, Friday, that's kind of their jig. So that one, 301 AZ out of sequence. N65 LJ out of sequence. LN 989 AW out of sequence. N631 JS out of sequence. N631 JS again out of sequence. That one right there that says CSQ 312, that's actually the Maxwell bird out of sequence. I don't have any more historical data beyond that right now. I would just tell you, just from my gathering it, watching it every day, pulling the data in, it's that every week. It's just going gangbusters. So we have got, given today's activity, we're probably in the last 2 weeks, maybe a dozen aircraft. We normally don't see that type of tempo into Guantanamo Bay. I may count a dozen over like maybe 8 or 9 months. I mean, we're now beyond what we would normally see in a year's time. So let's talk about that for just a second. Some people say, well, could they be picking people up and taking them off island? And, flashbang is basically shutting down the location. Not the case at all. In fact, if they were going to shut down the location, the media who is pro shutdown would be all over it, for one. 2, they'd just put them all on one plane. They wouldn't pepper them in like this and just be, bringing them out, one at a time kind of deal. This is very consistent with, an HVT coming into a prison location that's being, kept very secure. And so that is what you're seeing here. Also, like I said, I remember there is counterintelligence out there. When Flashbang goes out and says, hey, we're going to shut down the prison, and they start putting that in the media, that's because when this starts happening, everybody in their mind is saying, oh, well, they're going to shut down the prison, so that couldn't be what that is. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so definitely something up there. Again, the board is clear for cases, so that tells you that the stuff is going to be probably classified. Okay, Now, let's get over to another aircraft here real fast. Now, this one is not on the board, although it is showing it's actually is just departing or just departed. It left Guantanamo Bay. Let's see here. 2:41 p.m. got in it up into Belleville, Illinois. Now, we've seen that location here recently. If you guys remember, we're actually talking about that. And I want to say it was the Maxwell bird that was seen up there. So, but this Avalon, it's not showing a picture. That is actually a blue and white. It's a Dignitary bird. It's one of the presidential birds, but it's a 737. And so that one actually popped in yesterday and bolted out yesterday. So they, like I said, it was on the DL. There was nothing on the board. It just showed up from, where did it come out of? The Virgin Islands, and landed there and then rolled out. So somebody was checking on something. Okay. Wouldn't have been prisoners coming in. It would have been somebody checking on something more than likely. Okay. And reporting back. So that said, let's go over to the Maxwell bird real fast. This thing landed about 18 hours ago, came out of Nassau, Bahamas into Lauderdale. Again, I'm going to show you some things on Lauderdale that are going to get your attention. I can tell you as I looked across several apps, I did notice some very poor work in terms of trying to blend photos and cover photos up, and I'll show you that. And I usually look at that pretty close. Like I will look at Guantanamo Bay at the overhead satellite shots, and you can tell where there's lay-ins, right? Because the ground changes color. It's different time of year, things like that. Shadows are different. Because you get when you get out there in the Caribbean, you get wet and dry seasons, right? And so you'll get you can see when things have not been, like certain areas will be just lush and green, and then you'll see a patch laid in that's light brown, right, or dark brown or something where it's just like hadn't rained in a while. So that said, that's what we got going on here. Now this one has been again, it's over here in the Bahamas. It was in Baltimore, Maryland. Then it went down to that location, Central Black Site, and then back over to Lauderdale home base. But again, on Monday this week, it was at Opelika. So down to Key West. And then remember, it went from Key West up to Massachusetts. Now remember, we also saw the DOJ aircraft N721AL roll out of Key West on that same day, about 20 minutes apart from Key West back up to DC. So their arrivals were, I say roll out. They rolled in right 20 minutes behind this other aircraft. So what are the odds of that, right? Which you never see DOJ in Key West. So data point, let's move on. All right. Now, here's another one, 631JS. This is another one of our birds that 5 days ago it landed. It hasn't flown, but it was spotted in Guantanamo Bay. So let's just take a quick look. You can see it right here on the board. So Friday, June 4th, that was a week ago today, it came out of Guantanamo Bay back to Lauderdale, but it went out of Lauderdale to here. Now that's not its home base, okay? Actually, look at this. It went on Tuesday, it went on Friday. Its home base, I think it's operating out of Melbourne, because that's where I keep seeing it going into right there in Central Florida. So if that's its home operation, that means it intentionally went to Lauderdale, picked somebody up, flew them to Guantanamo Bay, and came back, and then more than likely brought probably the security team back, and then rolled back to its home base. Okay, but again, it was out here in Nassau in the Bahamas. Think international rules of engagements change. Okay, and then this is going to be weird. This is one I was just talking about. N721AL. This is going to be one of kind of like your go team for the DOJ. Just wanted to pop that up. Landed a day ago in Greensboro. Actually, from Greensboro went to DC. But let's go back and look at that real fast, because I want to show you where it was Key West, because it was down there. Here it is, right here. Last seen, Key West, Florida. So you got it leaving. That was Monday, like I said, and went back to DC. So it popped down to Key West, was down there. Looks like it was seen in the area landing, and wasn't on the ground long, and then it rolled right back out. So it probably dropped the team off, if I had to guess. But now today it's up here and went from Greensboro back into Manassas, so ground zone. Okay, now this is the fun part, and this is where I'm going to show you guys. I've been inspecting some areas. First of all, I'm going to pull up the first one, okay? I want you guys to look at this. Now, this is a location. It's on. This is what drew me to it. Okay, it's not that. Just so you guys can see, I was looking at Fort Lauderdale Airport, and this is what caught my attention. It's not a massive one. It's not like you're looking at DFW or Atlanta or something, right? I was looking at it, and I noticed this, and I was like, what in the heck is that? Because it looked like I see an engine silhouette. I see an engine or a fuselage shadow. Okay, but and we're gonna zoom in a little further. Let me just show you what they're doing here. All right, as we get in closer, this thing, you can see it's been wiped. This object right here is, I don't know what it is. It has been, I think it's been laid in there somehow as they're trying to cover something. Okay, but this, you can see it has been completely wiped, and somebody made an attempt to put a line here, a taxi line for their aircraft. This has been wiped. Like you can see, it's completely, that is a fuselage right here. That's an engine cowl. I can see the top of it, right? And it looks like a 757. They don't want you seeing that aircraft for some reason. The fact that they blacked it out, blotted it out on a tarmac in Google Maps. This is off of my Apple phone, okay? And so I'm like, this is pretty big giveaway that they're hiding something. When you start trying to cover up aircraft because you don't want people to see a particular aircraft on ground, why? Okay, data point one. Remember this, okay? Remember right here, there is no line here, okay? Now I'm going to show you the next picture, and you're going to go, say, what? All right. Now we get over here to, oh, you did that to me. It reset on me. All right, here we go. Now, remember, this one is where they put in the line. Now look at this. This is the same location, all right? But look at this. That right there, it looks to me like they tried to, that is a jetway. That's a jetway up to an aircraft that looks like it's just pushed aside, okay? Now this image is a little bit wonky because it's 3D. We'll bump back over it in 2D in just a second. But I want to just kind of show you that. All right, I want to point out what we're seeing here. That is intentional wipeout. You can see the blotting right here, the blurriness. And then if you look over here, the same thing. This has all been, if you've ever messed around with Paint Shop or Photoshop, I mean, you know, where you can see your mouse strokes right here, where they've been running it across. They've clicked on some part of the tarmac, and then they've run across it to clone the brush, okay? And so that is what you're seeing there. Now, check this out. This is the other thing. Is that a car pulled into that area? Like, that's an up ramp, and there's something in there. I can't get any closer to that, but there's definitely something in there. It looks like a vehicle, all right? I was like, what is that? Just caught my eye. Now, as I back out of this, I'm gonna go to 2D. We'll just get kind of an overhead shot so you can see as I kind of spin some things around a little bit, get it reoriented. There's an aircraft right here, and you'll see, I mean, it sits there pretty regularly, and there's an aircraft right here. This thing sits there. That has been covered. That is a complete, like, that's just a lay-in. You can see they took something, dropped it in, and just tried to make it look all. So they're covering airplanes sitting right here at this spot, which to me is a very key. Look at the entryway. You come around here, you can get right in. Exit over here. You've got aircraft right here, right off the end of the runway. They come in. Man, if I was going to say we had an opportunity for an operation, this right here would be golden. Now, here's the other thing. I want to show you something. Check this out. I'm going to click on this dot, and it takes me to a night shot out here from. Now, notice there's that aircraft. Remember I told you there's a 767. It's got a red and white tail that's sitting completely different. That would give you kind of the range if you were pulling in. But that right there is your taxi line for the aircraft to pull up and park. All right. So there is that. Now, what's interesting is that you can go, if you notice, this picture looks different than the one that I just showed you over here. Right? It's completely different. It's the same spot, location. It's just a completely different image. But it kind of a giveaway, right? You can see, if you really look closely, you can actually see the silhouette, the shadow. They did a horrible job here. But I've Why you would cover that up is beyond me, unless you had some kind of an operation going. You didn't want to see anybody see these aircraft sitting here. And yeah, that's definitely suspect, okay? All right, now let me go on. Let me see if I can get this Google Earth to pull up real fast so I can show you guys. Because there's different images depending on which one you go to. Now, you would think all the Googles would match, because I can tell you I've got Google Maps on one. That's the one that I showed you with the aircraft that is completely blotted. This is Google Earth, which is very similar in nature to, actually, that's not Google Earth. This is Google Earth. And it's not taking me, that was Google Maps. So this is Maps, Google Maps here. But you can see outlay. They've loaded something here that says Bell Textron with a building picture. Maybe it's future home of, but there's not anything there. Okay, and this looks to be cut out. That's kind of a strange, I don't know what that is right there. See that straight line into the grass? That's really odd looking. Again, this is just overlaid. Let me back up and give you kind of a position of the whole airport. Again, that's what caught my eye was I was actually on my phone. I noticed they had rubbed out part of an airplane, and I'm like, why would you do that in an airport unless you're trying to really hide something? And so that's what drew me over to here, okay? But this is definitely, everything else looks like a regular kind of airport, okay? General aviation stuff over here, main airport here, right? So, okay, there's that. But that's going to be Lauderdale, and that is going to be one of our operations. It's heading in and out of, like I said, to the spa on a regular basis, okay? All right, now, let's go back to our film crew. Let's see what we've got here. Now, here's the thing. Somebody actually, in my last video, somebody actually called this guy, spoke with him, said he's a super nice guy. And the gentleman told them that he is, all of this activity where he's been down here in DC, flying around the White House and then everything else. He said he was there doing some shots that were for a Clinton impeachment movie or something along those lines. Okay. Now, what doesn't make sense, and this is where I kind of got a little bit, he said he asked him if he did anything else for government work, and the guy said no. Clearly, I mean, you can't be like, yeah, tell you exactly what I do. But like I said, this is what the guy told us. Now, here's where I kind of go, this doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, is when you start seeing the flights that go out of DC. So right here, he's in DC doing some stuff. Why is he in Newcastle? Wilmington, Delaware. Who do we know goes to Wilmington, Delaware on a regular basis? Why is this guy flying up to Wilmington, Delaware? Okay. Today he's actually, this is his slot. He just arrived not too long ago. Actually, sorry, this is 2 days ago. Farmingdale, New York to Rocky Hill, New Jersey. So he's coming out of here. This is about a stone's throw away. I don't know how far, maybe 20 miles, maybe, to where I believe where Trump is. Okay. So just find it interesting. He's there in this area now, and he's actually been there for 2 days parked. All right. So brown zone down here. Okay. But he was doing a bunch of flying here, went up to Wilmington. And then, he's been spending a lot of time actually at the same exact airport as Flashbang. So I don't know the Clintons ever went to Wilmington, Delaware for anything. I mean, maybe they did, but I don't recall ever seeing any of that as part of the impeachment hearings or the impeachment process or anything. So anyway, I just find that interesting. That was the story he gave us. But let you guys decide for yourself. What are the odds that he's going up to the same exact location that Flashbang is going? I just don't think there's much coincidence there. Okay. I think it actually is probably going to be, we had to guess he's filming for some stuff. Okay. Just saying. Just putting that out there. All right. All right. N22PP, this is going to be your park police. Looks like they have been doing some routes too around the DC area. Now, again, this right in here is your White House area, okay? And it doesn't look like they were even remotely close to that. They've been kind of flying around here, but that landed, that was 17 hours ago. And, of course, we know Flashbang is not in CONUS. He's OCONUS. So, all right. let me see here. Okay, let me go over here. Now we're going to kind of break from that. We're going to go into the immigration piece, okay? And again, I'm not trying to show people getting on buses. There's plenty of people doing that. What I'm trying to do is just show you these are the flights that are taking people to get on the buses, all right? One that stood out is this one right here. It looks to be coming from down into, matter of fact, let me just click on it. It's going to Brownsville, which is taking you straight to the border. And then this one here is coming out of Miami to Dallas Love Field. And so it looks to me this is going to be our one today that is looking to be the suspect. So it's coming out of Ecuador and going to Brownsville. So it's bringing them straight to the border on this case. Now, I don't know why it's going here unless they're picking up, more than likely just picking up more people and then taking them into the belly of the beast. Okay? So to be doing too much. N397 SW, at least not too much at the moment. So Dallas to Miami, that's probably one we just saw on the board actually. And it looks like it's just taken off. But again, this one, look, it came out of El Paso, border town to Dallas. And looks like it's taken another group out to Miami. At least they're scattered, smothered, and covered, right? Putting them all over the U.S. So, all right, there's that. So, okay, over to the spy balloons. So this one is actually going to be Half Moon Bay, California. That is where it's currently located. Looks like it's coming back. It was probably out here in Hawaii if I had to guess, but looks like it's headed back over towards the coast of California. And we'll just continue to watch it and see what it does, if it starts hanging out around San Fran or what they're up to. But yeah, it was out here. That one was out here in Hawaii, out by Kona. And our other one is 542. Now, this one's out in the Nebraska area, and you can see this has been really kind of hanging out in that general area. I don't know what is out there, but 55,000 feet, 600. You can see this is your speed. So when it's getting instructions to go somewhere, man, that seems awfully fast. 40 miles an hour. They must have upgraded those bad dudes, because I normally don't see them kind of punch beyond 20. But let's see here now. There's no telling what they could be doing out there. It could be fires, could be, I mean, who knows? Spying on people. I mean, that's what they do. Over to our other spy craft. Now, this one is R50348, which is going to be the Army Bird. And this is the last time this one flew. This was a day ago. Came out of DC and it went up here. And Hagerstown, I think, is where that. But it's basically, it was running routes all over this thing, so you can see. But that, folks, is what they call a Dash 8 R6A or something like that. But it's a straight up geared for spying. It's got Stingray and Dirtbox and all the other good stuff on it. I mean, it is chock full of anything you could possibly need, want, or use to gather data on people. So when they're doing that ring right there and then these cut acrosses, they're basically becoming the middleman on cell towers, and they're just scooping up everything in the region. Everything in here, probably within 20 miles outside of that circle, they have the ability. But that, when they do circles like this, are typically focused in something probably pinpoint in the middle there. Okay, and this one would be our last spy bird, Phoenix 82, which is currently en route, and you can see there they go. They're off to the races. So they're also doing some circling and grabbing some data. And so this thing has been doing it. Now, this is out near Clovis, New Mexico, but it came out of Cannon Air Force Base. And so there are your government dollars at work. So we must be in a pretty sad state of affairs, and I guess if you just open up your borders like you're doing, you're going to have to do this quite a bit. But man, it blows me away how much spying we're doing on our own people. Okay, back over to the main map. We're going to just kind of break this thing out left to right. So get out here over Hawaii, see if we've got anything. I'm glad that the screen actually loaded, but of course this isn't FlightAware. So Hawaii looks pretty quiet. Now, yesterday I heard in Asia we had a lot of, I guess, diverted aircraft or something going on. They weren't quite sure what it was. There was some pretty bad weather over there, so that may have been what we were experiencing. That was causing a diversion. So Let's see, you got some tankers rolling outbound. Looks like that's a B-350 coming out of Beale, it looks like, Air Force Base. Couple lawn darts, handful of C-17s, so that's going to be tanker. Another tanker, lots of fuel up there. That's a tanker right there as well. Another tanker, C-130, that one's on ground. 2 C-17s and a bunch of refuelers all in general area. These are trainers out here. We get over Arizona, that one's Otis is on ground. These are, look, that's a trainer right there. And these little Tex 2s, same thing, trainers. C5, C-17s, another C5. Got some pretty big heavy movers out today for C5s. Don't see too many of those very often. A lot of C-17s up, it looks like. There's one of your spy birds. So it looks like that one just took off out of Colorado. Let me just get in. Yeah, it's coming out of Colorado and headed eastbound. All right, 737. Let me get over Florida real fast to see if we got anything else going on. Got a C-17 that definitely looks like it just came like into sight on here. So no signal until there. So there ain't no telling where it's coming from. So let me hit persistence, see if it adds to it. Nah, it doesn't. Okay. And everything else, it's kind of light. East Coast, there's really not too much going on over here on the East Coast. Pretty light. Now you got a couple pad aircraft. Those are priority air transports. Look like they're a little two-ship, actually. On one right behind the other, 26,000 feet descending, 29,000 feet in descending. So more than likely those two are operating together, or they're just flying the same route inbound and probably headed into DC if I had to guess. Everything else looks like got a lot of weather, so not too much. And that looks to be a two-ship. Let me get in a little closer. No, three-ship. And so we got a three-ship of C-130s. Looks like they are... let me back up, see where they're coming out of, but... Mercy, way down south here. Okay, so... Now there's Jacksonville. I think it's North Carolina. Not Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah, it's Jacksonville, North Carolina, Myrtle Beach. So, all right. I don't know what they're doing, but look to be headed upstate up here in the probably the main area. Let me see their altitude. They're descending right now at 19,000. So probably, if I had to guess, they're going to be coming into this general area somewhere. But okay. All right, folks, so listen, that is, let me go into, I forgot to cover TFR, so I'll do that real fast and we'll wrap up. Looks like we've got, this is space operations off the coast of Virginia. Got our normal brown zone, got a lot of weather moving in across kind of the southeast and across up to the DC area, just south of New York. That's still an air show right there. I don't know why that's still on, but that's still there. Another one, these are air shows. These red boxes out here, for the most part, are all fires. This one, yellow out Reno, that's still an air show. Don't know why that's still there. We've got some smaller ones here. These are probably gas related if I had to guess. Hazards, yeah, natural gas release. And so those are across probably, 3 different areas, probably a pipeline or something. But looks like they're bleeding the valves. It's always fun to do when you got this weather coming in. And so, okay. So let me just bump into this. I'm going to show you guys. This is on ground at Lauderdale, and we seem to have just like a whole bunch of black SUVs, various ones. That looks like a Range Rover. Not fully sure, maybe Explorer. That is your normal kind of, that's what you would expect to see. Now, could that be Uber XL? Maybe. Not totally sure, but when we were looking at them, there's the other one again right here. Let me kind of get it back in a little closer. So that's one of your vehicles right here, but these are the ones that we see pulling up associated with the aircraft that are leaving, okay? And they roll in 2 or 3 of them, and they're there for just very, very quickly, and then they're out, all right? Now, the fact that this is behind the gate inside here makes me kind of question whether or not it would be Uber or Uber XL, unless they've got some kind of previous clearance to drive aircraft onto, an active tarmac. Typically, that's not not allowed. Normally Uber will have to be on the outside of a gate, so if somebody's pulling in or out, even though it may be curbside, so to speak, I don't know too many Ubers that are allowed to drive into, airport access into the side, inside the gates on the tarmac side. Could be wrong, but pretty sure that's the case. So we do have some black SUVs confirmed with these other aircraft that we're watching, and so we'll continue to keep an eye on those. Again, definitely some shenanigans going on down there. The other thing too, I was going to show you guys, I'm really excited about this, and I think you guys are going to love it when it comes online. I've been working with a guy that is basically developing a new platform for aircraft tracking, and it's called Skyglass, and I'm going to pop it up here just so you guys can see what this thing looks like as a sample or an example. But this is, and it'll track military, it does it all. Now what we're working currently is we're trying to we're going to actually get some icons added, so you can, it's just like ADS-B Exchange, where you can actually see what type of aircraft it is visually, because I'm pretty big on visual signs, right? And so for me to use it, trying to look at a little triangle is kind of difficult. So but this guy is making an amazing product, and it's going to be really cool because it allows you almost like floating through in a game type environment, but it's called Skyglass. And this will be probably my main go-to once it gets completed. And so we can actually go above, you can look down, you can get right beside the aircraft, look at its track, where it's been, all the other data points that you can get anywhere else. But it's going to be, I think it's a pretty cool looking tool, especially once you get the icons in and you can see what you're looking at. It's almost like playing a video game, but it's very three-dimensional. And again, this is we're into the beta side, but working very closely with them to help develop this tool set, and it'll be available to everybody. So once this thing goes out, I think you're going to get your hot hands on it and going to love it. So again, cool little deal. Hopefully the next 60 days, it'd be great if it's before then, but probably about the next 60 days, that'll start to come out, and I'll start to play around with it, and you'll see me start to transition and use that as well in my SITREP. So okay, that's going to do it for today. You guys, listen, be safe out there. It's getting crazy, and if anything changes within the Guantanamo Bay, or we continue to track this stuff, I'll post it. We'll talk more about it. We're still working to try and get eyes on. We just can't seem to get it. But if we can catch them actually putting somebody into an aircraft from one of those vehicles, you can tell if it's a security team, right? Just their behavior, the way they act, and not like an Uber driver, okay? And so hopefully we'll be able to catch that, get eyes on it. I am still talking to Nancy Drew. She had a bit of an incident up in DC, and but she's got some interesting things relative to this this aircraft, the helicopter that's doing the filming, that she wanted to share with me. But she's got to let it marinate a little bit. I think they got a little bit unhinged when it came to recording live data, and operations going on, like live operations happening up in DC. And so she's got to be kind of sensitive to that. But anyway, to say the least, that's more that'll be coming as well. So once we get that information, we'll start to digest a little bit, and I'll pass it on to you guys. So that's going to be it. You guys be safe out there. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear at Monkey Werx, US.